Tommy Shaw, lead guitarist of Styx, says this about Gibson guitars.
It was my choice of guitars when I was little. It was my dream guitar. It's still I still dream of Gibsons.
The musical world agrees. Gibson, in business for over a century, has 3 domestic factories, 2 in Tennessee and 1 in Montana.
This company's been around for a long time. It was founded in 1894.
The one in Memphis has daily tours, so visitors can see a guitar made practically from scratch. But on November 17th, 2009, someone else showed up at Gibson's door.
Mid-morning, I get a call that Homeland Security was raiding our factory.
Gibson CEO Henry Jeskowitz, a musician himself, has been running the company since 1986.
I thought it was a joke because, you know, Homeland Security raiding a guitar factory just makes no sense.
Armed federal agents showed up at Gibson's Nashville headquarters and their factory 2 miles away. Nashville manufacturing supervisor Carlton Sanders was on site that day.
The agents came in and told us to back away from our desk. And I kind of vividly remember that, you know, who are these people?
They weren't looking for bombs. They weren't looking for terrorists. They were looking for wood.
And what did you find when you got to the factory?
There were several dozen armed agents, and they were taking a lot of wood, and it was kind of a bizarre situation.
The Fish and Wildlife Service were there, along with Homeland Security. They claimed the wood, imported from Madagascar, violated a conservation law known as the Lacey Act. But Gibson said it was the same wood they used all along, wood that many other companies use for their products.
We had affidavits from the country of Madagascar and their officials saying that we complied with all of their laws, which the government took exception to.
Then, on August 24, 2011, nearly 2 years after the first raid, while Gibson was still waiting for formal charges, it happened again.
I seen the badges on their sleeves, and I was like, oh, wow, here we go again.
This time, Gibson was accused of illegally purchasing wood from India.
The first thing that the officer in charge said was, I need for you to cut off your security camera first, and then I need you to shut down all your operations.
That same day, the Fed simultaneously conducted a raid of the factory in Memphis, too.
That's when it became very clear to me that they were not doing well in court. We were showing the fact that we really had done nothing wrong, and I think they just jumped on any excuse to intimidate us.
Last month, agents raided the Gibson Guitar factory in Tennessee.
Speaker of the House John Boehner took note of Gibson's travails and decided the problem wasn't with Gibson.
Gibson, a well-respected American company that employs thousands of people.
But with an overreaching federal government.
Excessive regulations are making it harder for our economy to create jobs.
Still, in 2012, the company chose to settle with the government. Gibson paid a $300,000 fine, a $50,000 community service payment, and also admitted to violating the law relating to Madagascar, forfeiting the wood seized in the first raid. We reached out to the Department of Justice, which pointed out that admission of criminal wrongdoing on Gibson's part, but officials declined to speak with us about it. Homeland Security deferred to U.S. Fish and Wildlife, which led the investigation. They declined to speak with us about the raid as well.
We just wanted to bury the situation. If that's what it took to get the government off our back, okay.
Today, Gibson is back to producing instruments as it always has, but is using extra caution when purchasing its overseas wood. But for Jeskowitz, that still doesn't take away the sting.
Somebody chose us for some reason, and there was no good reason to choose Gibson. We were harassed, goods were seized, our business, was injured, we had to pay lawyers.
As for the controversial Indian wood, the government eventually determined that Gibson indeed purchased it legally. They returned the seized wood to the factory, where Gibson put it to good use.
We put it into what we call the government series guitars, which commemorated the raid and has been extremely well received.
Tommy Shaw and I jammed on one.
Are you the sort of guy who likes to stick his finger in the government's eye?
No, I mean, I like to make guitars. I like to build new things.
Excellent. Well